Hey, what is up guys? The J-Rud here again with another Halo Wars 2 strategy video. This is going to be Kinsano Rush number 2, or you might call this advanced mode or something like that. You might have seen my Kinsano Rush video before, but this video is a little bit more in-depth. We're able to take the strategy to a whole nother level. So following this guide will give you a good idea of what to do in ones. This is a ranked 1v1 game, so you want to be sure that you're using this in ones. It is very effective in twos as well, but ones is definitely where it shines. Build order here is going to be one supply pad, then a generator, then another supply pad, then a barracks, and then to close it all off, another supply pad. So once we get the majority of our buildings going, we want to make sure that we're getting resources off the map, send those Marines out to make sure they're grabbing supplies, and once your first Jackrabbit gets made, because you made that right at the beginning, you'll send that guy out to grab resources on the map as well. Because as a fast-moving unit, you want to make sure you're doing that. You'll also notice that I put on the first Jackrabbit upgrade right out of the base, so you want to make sure that you're getting that going as soon as possible. That's just to give your Jackrabbits offensive capabilities, so when this rush really comes to fruition, you can hit the enemy hard. So while you're gathering resources, make sure to just keep an eye on everything, drive that efficiency, make sure that your Marines are out there actually doing something, and you want to make sure that your base is being built at all times, so you don't want to let any building pads lag. The reason why is because once you get that timing down and you make sure that all the building pads are being built one right after another with no delay, you'll be able to start building units at the 1 minute 30 second mark if you do it perfectly. 1 minute 30 seconds is a really nice round number to hit, mostly because we're a lot more prepared in this rush strategy than we are in the old one that I have featured, mostly because we can start making multiple different types of units, namely Marines, Jackrabbits, and Hellbringers. So you've got the Hellbringers to be those building killers, you've got the Jackrabbits to be highly mobile, anti-infantry defense, and then you've got your Marines to kind of be that all-around unit to really help you out. I'm going to go a lot more heavy on Jackrabbits and Hellbringers in this rush, and less dependent on Marines, since Marines don't tend to be as specialized. I don't prioritize them as much. Now right about this time, we're at that minute 45, you'll notice that I'm able to start making units around that 1:30 like I mentioned. But now that you're about at 2 minutes in, you want to make sure that you're getting a mini base, because all of your buildings on your main base are being built up. So that mini base will really help you out, mostly because we're going to put a barracks on it. And if you can have a mini base with a barracks as well as a barracks on your main base, you'll have a lot more opportunity to make units as you need them. Now, the reason why you want to do that as well is because you can make units about twice as fast. It's not quite twice as fast, but about twice as fast when you have those two different areas together. The reason why I say it's not quite twice as fast is because you do have that bottleneck of resources, which is why it's so helpful to make sure that you're getting resources on the map. But what you end up doing with that mini base is the ability to actually generate Hellbringers, Jackrabbits, and Marines. So all the 3 units that you need for this rush, you can actually send them right out from that mini base. So everything you need is right there. The big thing with this as well, as you're making units, you want to make sure that your buildings that manufacture those units, so your barracks and your main base, are all doing something at all times. So here I run into a little bit of a problem where I can't make my barracks because I don't have enough resources, but I don't want to cancel any units that are being built because I need them to be built really fast. So what I'm going to do is just wait a second and then bounce back to my mini base here in just a moment, and we'll get that barracks built. Realistically, because I have no units that are stacking on my barracks right now, it's not slowing me down. So I'm just going to keep making Hellbringers, keep making Jackrabbits, and we're going to keep that going just for a couple more minutes. Now, just to give you guys an idea of what I look for as far as when I should handle my rush, because the big thing with rushing is that you need to be riding that balance between being too soon but having enough units. So what I usually look for is a nice round number. I look for 50 population. I generally keep a pretty good split between Hellbringers and Jackrabbits, but that 50 population number, once those units are all manufactured, does tend to be a pretty solid number to hit. Mostly because at that point, if you've done this efficiently enough, the enemy won't have sufficient defenses to really be able to counter you very well. You'll also notice I'm not putting turrets up at this time. What I usually do is get those 50 population made, and then I might put turrets up if the rush starts to go bad. Usually that takes a minute for them to actually retaliate if the rush doesn't go my way. So at that point I'd put turrets up, make sure that I'm getting my base locked down, and then turtle for a few minutes just in case while I get my defenses built up. Now what we're going to keep doing here, as you see, I get my mini base going, get my barracks going on both my mini base and my main base, and I'm just cranking out units. And I got that 52 number, so a little bit over 50, but now I'm going to send all my units forward, and really important here, I want to make sure that I'm moving my rally point up. So you'll actually see me here. I don't do that here because I run into the enemy, and I notice they've made some more Marines. What I'm going to do is keep my 1 Marine squad there and sacrifice him, so that way the enemy is distracted and doesn't keep moving towards my main army, which I've sent over to the enemy's base. Now the big thing is you want to keep using that left D-pad shortcut to keep getting back to your base. Keep those units cranking, and you'll also notice the leader powers that I'm using. I didn't mention that before, but one of the key leader powers that I'm using here on Kinsano is called Red Line. Red Line will give your infantry units and your Jackrabbits, so any freshly made unit, they will give them an increase, like a buff in their damage and defense. So you want to make sure that you have Red Line on there. It's a temporary passive power, but it is really helpful for those units that you're sending over. So I'm going to attack this mini base, or not mini base, full base. We get this full base tackled mostly because if they're going for that early expansion at this point in the game, we're 5 minutes in, they're probably focused way more on expansion than they are on actually getting those units manufactured for defense. You'll notice they actually dropped a few bombs on me there. That shows me that they're pretty desperate. They see me coming, and that scares them. So once I get that base destroyed, which only takes a few moments with those Hellbringers, I'm going to move on to their main base. And from there, we're just going to keep cranking out units. You want to drive the unit population all the way up if you can. So if you can get to 80, that's great. Now get over to their base, and unfortunately for this person, they saw Kinsano and didn't immediately think rush when they were in the leader select screen in the preview for the game. Normally when I see Kinsano, I prepare for a rush. So the fact that they don't have turrets or anything here, even with the turret meta being as strong as it is, that's pretty telling of what this person is trying to do. They're going for more of a long game strategy. Now, being that this is ranked, I would really expect the enemy to be a lot more prepared for something like this, because they've probably encountered it in the past, but you never know. You run into people of all different experience levels when you're playing in any type of game mode in Halo Wars. Sometimes when people are playing, especially as Forge, you end up with them trying to do more of a long game strategy. So if I had given him like a couple more minutes, he probably would have had a couple of vehicles that might have done some damage against this rush. But you'll notice here he's sending over the few Marines that he has, and my Jackrabbits are really easy. I'm going to take care of him there. Now my population is max, so I can't even make any units right now. Realistically, all I'm doing is fending off that last little bit of defense that he has. I drop my turret in to help me destroy the generators and the military buildings, like the garage and the air pad that he was building. And now I'm just going to focus on destroying that base. And at this point, with a max population at 80, Hellbringers and Jackrabbits, a healthy few of both of them, you're really pretty unstoppable if you've fended off their force, so you can just keep hammering away at that building. And since Hellbringers are building killers, you really end up with a pretty amazing time to kill. So now that you destroyed the base, if they don't have any military left, you win. And this is only a few minutes into the game. This is a really fast rush strategy to do. Now, granted, this enemy didn't really... Oh, 7:06 was the time total. Granted, this enemy wasn't very prepped, wasn't very prepared for that type of rush. But realistically, if you do it effectively, even if people are fully prepared, you'll still end up hitting them pretty hard. And they won't be able to overcome you. They won't be able to overcome any of your forces. So I hope this strategy has helped. Try it out yourself. I'm sure you'll see some great results if you try this out in any type of 1v1 game. Try it out in 2v2. It works pretty well if you've gotten a partner rather that can actually help you out with fending off any attackers that might retaliate against your rush. But other than that, guys, I've been the J-Rud. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like and comment down below with your thoughts, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.